All right, you're welcome back. Now we're going to be switching gears. Now we're going to be talking something very important, and I think I'd like you to sit back and listen to everything we're going to be talking about. Now we're going to be talking autism, and I have here with me two very important guests who will be sharing, some pearls of wisdom with us. Dr. Anna Lamikonra, thanks for being here today, Director of Blazing Trails International.
Thank you
for being here today, and Mrs. Dotun Akonde, Founder, Patrick Speech and Languages Center here in Lagos. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Let's start with you now, Dr. Anna. And autism is something that's interestingly still sort of an alien conversation in Nigeria, and you find that most people don't even know what it is, even amongst the middle class. So what is it really, and why should we really care about it?
Well, autism is a developmental disability, and you want to care about it because a child that is born as a normal child may eventually develop autism, and so you need to be able to see the signs. There are some signs that surface around 12 months to 18 months, and it's important that if you see the signs that you start early therapies or early intervention with the child so that you can manage autism as he grows or as she grows.
Yeah, you said signs. Now, what are those signs exactly?
Well, one of the main sign that most people use is when a child has not developed a speech. When a child is not doing, or did develop speech and is no longer speaking. And that's a number one sign, the speech and wanting to play by yourself and be isolated. And there are other signs that surface, but the two big things would be communication and social, that it's different than other kids his same age.
So are these kids born with it, or is it something, how do you develop it, just for people to understand exactly?
Well, this is something that the scientists are working out.
Okay.
We really are unable to know for now, but we do know that when a child reaches a certain age in his development and he hasn't made the developmental milestones, that this signals a problem.
Yeah, Mr. Akonde, now people tend to think it's an international disease. It's not a Nigerian thing. They think, oh, it's a white man's thing, and because you see all of these movies, and I know I've seen a couple of interviews with some celebrities who have kids who also have that. I'm talking of Hollywood now. It's almost like it's not a Nigerian thing. And I know you obviously have a personal story with regards to autism.
Yes, it's a Nigerian thing, and it does not know any race or social status. It can happen to the rich, it can happen to the poor, it can happen to the middle class, if we have one right now.
I did that when I was talking.
So it's something that we really should be worried about. Why? We're seeing many young families coming up with children with autism. We are seeing many families worried about their child that is not talking. Even some of them that it really eventually gains speech, we are seeing that at 2, 3 children, especially boys, are not talking. It's a boy disorder. Before you find a girl, you would have seen at least 5 boys on the spectrum.
Is there a reason why that is?
We don't know why. We're still at the stage where there's a question mark around everything with autism. It's so much of a mystery. But what we do know is that when you start at an early age to teach the children the skills that is needed for them to grow into responsive adults, the better our children really turn out. So we advocate for early intervention in our children.
So what are okay, she did mention communication and all of that. What are some of the things you notice? I mean, when do you start, being bothered, if I may use the word bothered? When do you start taking action?
My son actually had speech at 12 months. He had up nepa and he had daddy.
He said up nepa first?
Yes.
Oh my.
He had up nepa and he had daddy. And then by the time he got to 18 months, I noticed that the speech had actually receded to almost no speech. And he would walk up to me, want something. He would run from one end of the room to the other. And I said, there's something wrong with this boy. And you know how Nigerians are, stop saying that. It's not, it's not your portion. So that was, I said to myself, the mother's instinct will not let you be. It will keep reminding you that something is wrong. And I went to the hospital. And they said, oh, Mr. Akonde is a boy. Boys talk late. Don't worry yourself about it. He will eventually outgrow it. That's the word that I really hate. Because the truth about it is that if I had waited and allowed my son to outgrow it, I probably wouldn't be here today. When we started with, he was lining objects up in a particular manner. He was flapping, and he was rocking. I knew something was wrong. I just knew. And he would walk on his tippy toes. His feet were not flat on the floor. He would walk on his tippy toes. And he was drawing one particular thing. It took us over a year to realize that he was drawing the electric poles that he sees anytime we're going out and coming back home. You know, so his mind was working, but he was not talking. So we didn't even really know what was in his mind until we started speech therapy with him. I met a doctor who eventually told me, oh, your son has autism, and that was how we started the journey. The speech therapist would come to the house for 1 hour, 3 times a week. Then I would go to the school and ask for lesson to be done by the class teacher after school for 1 hour. And one beautiful thing happened when he turned 5. We introduced music to him, playing an instrument. Because I said, this boy is not talking. It looks like this boy is not going to school. But I know that in churches, they like piano people. This boy will play the piano. So I got a music teacher into the house, and that finished the topic. He started to use the words. His mind became alive. We could see him emerge day after day, weeks, months, years. Now he's 18. We're talking about almost 16 years ago. He's 18. He's in uni studying mathematics and physics. That tells you that with the mind of our children on the spectrum, depending on how affected the child is. Some of them are on the low functioning end, some of them are on the high functioning end, and some on the low functioning end have skills, splinter skills that you can work with. Same thing with those on the high functioning end. Those on the high functioning end usually come with speech. By the time they are 2, 3, they have speech, but they don't use it. They don't communicate with it. But because we don't know what is inside of them, because they are not expressive, they are not people that express themselves, we tend to put them by the wayside, and we don't work on the skills that these children really have. They do have skills. I've seen a 17-year-old come to the center with no skills. We've been able to teach him music, very good on the piano, and he's very, very good with dance. You teach him a step, and in 2 days, I mean, he's getting it and all. You teach him administrative skills, and he's taking it like and swallowing it like he's hungry for more. He wants more. And each day, he's now 22, doing very well in that his skill, in the music that he loves, in the dance that he so loves, you know. So it's important that we find what these children or these adults have and use that as an inroad into supporting them in a life skill.
No, Doctor, that's a very fascinating story, and it's nice to see that it has a happy ending.
Yes.
Now, most people don't know how to get to that happy ending. Like you've mentioned about symptoms and all of that. When is the right time to go see a doctor? When should you do your part? When should you stop doing your part? And do we have those in Nigeria?
Well, that's part of the thing that we're trying to do. We're offering, we're doing a behavior clinic sponsored by GT Bank. Beginning on the 22nd, but we have a conference about autism, which is open to the public, which will be at the Musan Center starting at Monday from 9 o'clock to 5, Monday and Tuesday, and then the behavior clinic Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And the clinic is to help identify who may be a candidate for further screening for autism. Because a lot of people will have babies, just like Mrs. Akande said. You may have a child and he's not developed certain skills, and if it's a boy, because as she said, it is a disease that affects 1 out of every 5 children with autism would be a girl, but the boys are 5 times more likely to have the syndrome. So if you need some help figuring out what your issue could be, come see us while we're in town, and we'll help figure that out. But you have to know the signs. There's some free kits that you can find online if you are able to find online. It's called the Modified Checklist for Autism in Toddlers. And you can look at those signs and say, oh, is my baby babbling? Or is my baby talking? Is my baby able to follow a point? If you're doing a toy airplane and you're doing it across the room, can the baby follow you? Is the baby child more likely to fall and hurt himself? And you think it hurts him, but he doesn't make any sound about him being hurt. Those are things that you should look out for, because sometimes they seem invincible, children with autism. that nothing hurts them, and that's not normal.
But with her
Yeah.
case now, which she described earlier, you know, the boy was very active.
Right.
He ran across rooms. You know, he was drawing. He knew patterns. Like you said, why should a parent be worried at that?
Because most children have a lot of things they're interested in, not just one.
Okay.
And children with autism are unto themselves, which is what the name
So they
means.
focus on something.
Yeah.
They focus,
Not
they
just
focus
a few things.
That's self.
on their self,
themselves.
whatever's interest to them. You know, like a lot of times you'll see children with autism just spinning a globe or spinning a ball or in a chair like this and just going around and around and around to calm themselves down. And these are signs that there could be a problem.
Yeah. You're going to say something?
I was going to say that this is the 6th edition of the Autism Conference.
Okay.
And in the past years, autism wasn't known at all in Nigeria. In recent times, it has grown so wild.
You said it's growing. Is this something that's making... Are we just more aware now, which is why we think it's
more
growing? Or
aware.
has it just been there?
We are certainly more aware. Why? We're seeing older people. The oldest person we've seen at the center coming for inquiries is 50. Non-verbal, yes. 50, non-verbal, not responding, just at home doing. But because
people
the
have been
awareness,
living with it all
yes,
this while
yes,
and they didn't know what it was, maybe.
they might not have known what it was or what name to call it at that time, and then the person is just in a house.
Yeah.
But what we are seeing is we are really now seeing very, very young families, newlyweds with young children with autism. What does that tell us? It's growing.
It's growing.
Worldwide. It's growing worldwide. But our doctors in Nigeria are better equipped now to manage these children because of the awareness that we started. And we started 10 years ago. GTB started with us. But the conference started 6 years ago. And in 6 years, you don't want to know what has gone on in those 6 years. People have set up centers all over the nation to support families that have children with autism.